Hi there, thank you so much for joining us on yet another episode of The Digest. My name is Francesca. Now, Samson Chipeta loves his pencil and paper and has turned what many consider a hobby into a profession and business. The physical education and arts teacher volunteers his teaching services, which are not only contributing to the transformation of the pupils he teaches and the sector, but of the mindset as well. He is proving that art is not just a hobby, but a business sustaining his livelihood, dispelling the notion that earning a living on art in Zambia is a challenge. This week on The Digest, we bring you a volunteering teacher, self-sustained through art, as our dedication to the teachers who will be celebrating World Teachers Day on October 5th, 2021. Here is the inspiring story of the volunteer teacher.
The benefits of doing art. My benefits of doing art. What are the benefits?
Chipeta is a trained teacher in arts and physical education who did his secondary school at Munali Boys and completed his grade 12 at Highland High School. He did his tertiary education at Mufulira College of Education. Art is a passion he had when he was young, which he developed as he grew until it became his profession.
The inspiration I got for me to do art, of course, it's a passion and a talent that started some time back when I was just a kid. Yeah, where we could draw from the floor, we draw on the walls, and then people they commend you. Now you start feeling, oh, this is my talent. So I started now getting the interest. Not until when I was growing up, even of course at secondary level, I did part of some art subjects. And eventually that's when I thought of now maybe just to get a tertiary training specifically for art, and that's what prompted me even to pursue the art career as in a profession. I've got my cousin, is Chitalu. Yeah, he was a very good artist. I remember when I was a kid, when we visit my auntie, I could find a lot of his drawings in the room. So I was getting that kind of inspiration. Then apart from that, even my mom, she really helped me a lot to cultivate interest in art. She could tell me, even your uncle was an artist, was a very good artist, so this thing is just more like a genetical thing. So I believe you make a very good artist, and from such kind of words, it really groomed me now even to cultivate now the interest. So mom has also really helped me. Yeah, of course, even with the friends, because I remember sometimes even at school, when we make some works, people they could come and buy. I draw the map for them, they buy. So even that was also an inspiration. I'm sure when I was in grade 3, the grade 9s could come in my class, then they bring their books, and I was able even to draw the map of world, not even using the atlas, but just from the brains I could memorize, and then I drew it. Then they would pay. Sometimes they would give me some snacks, when you're kids, just give me some popcorns, you feel excited. Sometimes I would draw the restaurant, the footballers, and I had some good friends at school, the Indian guys. They could come and buy those things. I used to make some reasonable money as a child, yeah.
So you've been an entrepreneur for quite some time?
For quite some time, very long time ago.
Okay.
Sure.
And what would you do with the money that you realized from your art sales?
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, it was also about funny. When you make money, you go and you chew that money, you just buy some food stuff and maybe some toys and what, because there was I know that some kind of responsibility aspect about me. But now after growing up, of course now responsibilities are there. You sell that maybe you invest in buying materials, or you help out with the family needs and even other things that come as part of the responsibility. I remember that was some time back in 2007. there was a drawing which I made. It was a kitchen kind of artwork where I drew some kind of a kettle with some fruits. Yeah, at that time I was just trying to work out with the paints. Yeah, but after making it, I just meant to, after drawing, then I keep it in my room. But when people came, they loved it so much that someone wanted to buy it, and she bought it. Then from that point I was like, oh, then my works really people can appreciate them. And I remember that work, I will never forget it, and I still even have it in my records. And it was from that time that I started even now playing with paints, because back then now it was not that kind much of paint, just maybe some drawing with pencils. But that painting, it really made me to have now more interest to start now working with paints. So for example, like this one, this is Dr. Jobix Kalumba, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education. Yeah, so what's special about this artwork, it's just my own style that I've come up with. Of course, back then I used to use a newspaper. If you can see, there are some kind of words, but now I've moved away from using just these old newspapers. Why? Because like Dr. Jobix Kalumba, he said, I want you to write anything about my profile. So now what I did was I used the A4 papers. I went on Google Internet, I did a research about his lifestyle, his background, and he's got a very touching background. So it was from that I was able now to document whatever that I searched about him, and then I put it in a Word, then I put it on the A4 paper, I printed that one. After printing that one now, I started now sticking it here. Yeah, so there are words here that shows his background. So what's special about it? If you look at it, it's not the whole face, but it's just a partial one. And when you look closely at the words, they depict or the highlighting is the background. Yeah, so for example, class they do come. I want you to write about my background, or maybe about my life as ABCD. So what I'll do, I'll just research about them on internet, on Facebook, then whatever that is there, I will print it and then I'll start sticking there. So this one, there's no need of you start explaining to someone when he maybe comes at his place, what is about your background or what. You will just say, go to that drawing, read nicely. And maybe you might ask, but why is it some words are not seen, you have to struggle to see them? Yeah, there's a reason behind. The reason is that it takes one with interest to look or to be very much attentive or focused just to see the words. Yeah, because if it was just too vivid that anyone can see it from afar, people can take it casually. But it takes one with interest to read those words that are a bit hidden, because this is some kind of a special style. Apart from that one, there's even this one which I'm working on. It's still going on. This one I did the same. I went on the internet, I did the research about the roles that teachers play in building the nation, a lot about what we teachers do. So after that, that's when now I had to type, and then I print on M4, then I had now to start sticking it. So if you look at these pictures, they're not just mere pictures, but they've got a meaning, yeah, which maybe I can just briefly talk about. So for example, there, it shows a teacher. Of course, the theme of this one is teachers building the nation. So that one is a teacher there is teaching a child how to read. Yeah. So it starts from there, teaching them A, E, I, O, U, and some kind of sounds and phones. Yeah. Then after that, the child now is able now to start trying out to read on his own, where he could manipulate what is on the board and the ribs of the teacher. Then he tried to compare it with what is on the book. Then he's trying out to read on his own. So after that, we are looking at now, even in times of, for this one now, it shows now the child now, they are even able now to start even writing on their own through the process that we take them for them to become good ones. This one, these are kids that are putting on the face masks made of some sacks, in the village, some kind of hardships where they can't get the face mask. But the depiction here, it highlights, as teachers, we are very devoted under whatsoever circumstance. We are very geared to carry out our services. So this was during the period of COVID-19. but we could still forge ahead and teach. Because if we lag behind to say, no, there's COVID, then the nation will be affected. So then at the end of the day, when children, we teach them, this now, if you can see here, it shows the different faces. These are two different people. Here, it's some kind of, when a child is not educated, there's some kind of that kind of uncivilized behavior and maybe some kind of timid and shy. But because of the character that we build in them, it gives them now that confidence now, and they are happy, they can interact the world freely. And it's from that point that now they are able now to start reaching out for goals. And when they reach out for goals, this now picture now summarizes it. This is the Findeco house, this is our town. So this now shows how we build nation. So for these buildings, they are done by engineers, these cars invented by some kind of engineers and the town. So there was education that was applied here for this city to materialize or to actualize.
Is there a specific reason why you picked on, Findeco House? Okay.
Findeco House is famous. Everyone knows Findeco House. But if I was to pick maybe any building that even people don't know, they wouldn't know that this is Zambia. But Findeco House, it's known. And that's why I chose Findeco House, because it also gives a description of city, town, Lusaka. Yeah, such. So yeah, I'm still working on this one, and this one I'll present to the Ministry of Education. Yes, I'm still working on it.
By now, you would be thinking Samson is employed and teaching somewhere. After all, he has been trained and he is good at what he does. Well, you thought wrong.
So after my training as a teacher, of course, I taught on some different schools and on voluntary, and I also taught at Roma Girls on PTA. But now when the contract was terminated due to COVID, but when the schools were resumed, I thought, no, I can't just sit. I need to empower kids, because me, what I do is to empower the kids with the skills. So now I was like, no, I don't just want to sit. Yeah, because I've got a lot that I want to teach kids. So what I did was, I came to the nearby school, Ngombe, which is within our area. Then after that, I requested that I can start teaching on voluntary, out of just the passion for my talent and also my profession as a teacher. So that prompted me now to start teaching on voluntary. Of course, I'm not yet deployed. I've been left out. I apply, I'm left out. But I have passion really to continue teaching. And I can even much appreciate if I can be recruited, because why do I say so? I teach on voluntary, and I don't have some kind of money, and it's not always that I have to go to the head teacher to ask for money or maybe for the school. No, sometimes I just use my own money to teach kids. I buy my own pens, the kind of materials. But being in unemployment, I feel limited. But if I was employed, because of the passion that I have, I wouldn't even care even to spend my salary just to educate these kids.
What is your stance on entrepreneurship? I mean, you haven't been deployed for how many years now?
It's been almost 5-6 years.
All right. So what is your plan moving forward if you're not deployed even this year or next year?
Okay. I can still survive, because art, the good part about art, is something that you can sell. Yeah, it's somewhat different maybe with these other subjects. But with art, like me, when I make paintings, I do sell them. I sell, then of course, I don't have a lot of money, but at the end of the day, I can buy a bread, I can buy a meal, and life goes on. I can pay for some my siblings, school, I care for my mom and other responsibilities. So this also goes to people out there, especially youths, who maybe depend on the government. No, we need work. If they do, we want to be cadres. No. There's always something that is within us that we can do. Just that we don't want to try out. We have that kind of mentality. No, me, when I'm employed, that's when I will achieve my life. That's when I'll become successful in life. But that's not the way it is. Me, I'm able to survive using the same art. Yeah. So that, you still make some kind of reasonable money to survive.
How do you get to use new technology in your work now?
Okay. So for example, I use, like, for example, computer. It really helps me a lot, computer and the phone. There's what you call grid technique. So that grid technique, I have to use a phone. So how do I use a phone? When I get the picture, I put it on my phone, then I will use an app which makes a grid on the phone, on the same picture. Then that same app, I would develop the picture using the same grid, and those grids, I'll put them on my laptop, and then I'll start now editing some numbers. I'll put some numbers that will guide me. Then after this, I will transfer the same measurements now depending on the size that I want. For example, if I was using 1 centimeter square, there, if I use 2 centimeters, it's going to be big. So now I will transform what is on the laptop, and then I put it there. And apart from that, there are a lot of applications that as at now, due to technology, that are really helping us, like Remin. Remin is a picture where it's an app whereby if you get even an old faded picture, it can edit it, then it comes out very, very clear. So those, they really help. And apart from that, even technology in terms of internet. Me, I like to exhibit my works on internet, like WhatsApp, Facebook, and even on some other media that I use. So technology, it's really helping very much.
Would you then say that art is a career that someone can make a living off here in Zambia? Because you say that you've been managing for the last 5 years, you haven't been deployed, and you're managing to make a living using, selling your art pieces. Would you say that art is a career that someone can survive on in Zambia?
Definitely, and I'm happy that it's now that art is being acknowledged and appreciated, unlike back then. Yeah, but I'm sure maybe it's because of lack of exposure, but because of Facebook, WhatsApp, and the like. So art, you can earn a good living. We just have to be strategic. You need to know whom should I target, and you have to know what kind of works my clients want, and you have to be unique. Don't just do what everyone is doing. Then there will be some kind of competition. So you need to have your own unique style. So me, like personally, I like trying out some different styles, and that's what brings uniqueness in me, and I'm able to sell. So even out there, people, they can make a living. What it is, just that you have to be strategic, one. Then two, come out, reach out for people. Like me, sometimes what I do, if maybe I do your portrait, when the day when I want to deliver it, I will not cover it. I'll just carry it using just on hands. Then as I'm walking, people now will be looking. Of course, not like maybe I'm standing on the road, then I'm lifting it up, saying no. I respect your privacy, but of course I have to just hold it to some extent that people can see it, and when they see, they'll be like, hey, say, excuse me. Yeah, then on that you start now attracting clients. So my point is, be strategic and come out. Let people know what you are doing, and keep now just doing your best. You can earn a living.
What is your appeal to the Ministry of Education? I mean, you're a trained teacher, and you're also talented. You're an artist. What is your appeal to the Ministry of Education and to the Ministry of Tourism and Arts?
Okay, that's a very good question. What I can appeal to the Ministry of Education is that, of course, we really appreciate if they can give us the good support. Why do I say so? This art, because like kids that I teach, they make different artworks and they sell those and they make money. They make doormats. Of course, I also do teach how to prete and the like, and even, yes, nails and different things. So kids, they sell those things. So as art teachers, we can empower kids, and like maybe a child, maybe complete school, he starts now sitting now waiting for other things. But the good part about art, if they can give us that full support. For example, I'm just one teacher, but I'm teaching maybe about 80 kids. So meaning I'm empowering 80 kids with different skills that will enable them to earn a living even when they finish school. And some of my kids, they even make artworks and then they sell, and then they even pay out for some school fees and other things that come. So I would really appreciate if the government, they can come in and make sure that they help us with maybe the materials, and sometimes even if they can just know what we go through as teachers, and then they see how they can implement maybe some kind of policies that will reinforce our work as teachers. Otherwise, art, I'm speaking from experience, it is a subject that I can teach a deaf child, he gets empowered. You will never go in the street and start begging. It's a skill or a subject that I can teach kids as they are growing up. They become assets to the nation. And there will be nothing like, no, we want change, we want this and that from the government. No. So if the ministry can, of course, there are other subjects like maths teacher and the like. We appreciate that. But we also appreciate if they can reinforce art even in colleges and the like, so that more teachers for art, especially those that are talented, they can be given that backup from the ministry.
Among the pupils he teaches is Moses Piri, a grade 9 pupil.
Zina yanga ndine Moses Piri, mpunzira pa Ng'ombe Primary School, ni grade 9 na 15 years old. Nezopunzira ako kuli banzanga but pena ngira mu grade 8 napunzira bambiri kuli basa. Ine kupunzira art number mu grade 8 last year. Nikanyumba kena bwana panga this year. Na bwana gani za chat nipange kwa nyumba. Even after some time but pass assignment ndipe na bwana ya school. And I'm taking 2 weeks tini pange ka nyumba. Na bwana zinyisa chisering board na board na mabox. Na ine mafuna kunkala mnyumba so na bwana gani that first chain pange aka none bantu mwebaza onera nikakapanga so keze chape mu ngafuna sevenza acting then mafuna kuchita ni painting ni mafuna hizi manje I don't have materials to painting the faces of people. Ba Mr. Shpeta wanatupunzisa ba first wanapoa tupunzisa muombira clay even to make something out of clay like clay pot and so on. Venzo ngara clay atezo vimvera vonse venzo ngeve vinashita kuti vinashita inspire kuti ngaziganza nikangaliko nine artistic sugo.
After looking at these beautiful pieces of art, I could not resist the temptation but asked Samson to do a sketch of me, and without hesitation, he got my picture and using his phone grid, referenced the photo and then sent it on the laptop before he commenced sketching. This volunteering job Samson took up at Ng'ombe Primary School was not the first. Deputy head teacher at Roma Girls Primary School, Mr. Solomon Zulu, was Samson's neighbor when he was volunteering his services to the primary school.
I've known Samson for quite some time. Actually, we are neighbors. We've been living together for almost 4 or 5 years. He lived in the teacher's flats with some friends. And he was doing some work here as well, just to help himself cover up with some pupils. So he's been in the creative and technology studies teacher. As you all know, the government changed the education policy, and there are 2 ways. So there's the academic pathway and also the career pathway. So the career pathway, I think it involves a lot of creative issues like what Samson Chipeta is doing. So he's involved and he has been trained, but up to now he's not yet deployed by the ministry. He's still looking for deployment in the Ministry of Education. And he's doing art. He has helped our girls here to make basket, bags, and all these other things that are very creative. I think apart from being a career or a talent, I think it is really helping us in terms of what we need to do Like I think for him, it has really helped him to do what he's doing, especially that he's not employed. So I think it is a means of survival. He has really survived from artwork, you know. So it is one of those things that we need to teach our children, our girls, our pupils, to be interested in this career pathway, especially the creative and technology studies. Okay, because even out of employment, you can still find something to do that can help you sustain yourselves, like what Chipeta is doing now. So he's doing a lot of artwork, you know, here and there, and it is able to survive through that kind of work. So it is a thing that we recommend that everyone can do, that we need to do each and every day of our lives, to find something that you will never retire. I always consider this thing that if you are doing art, you know, you have got this kind of talent, apart from it making you gain employment, you can still survive with it and you can live with it even without getting employed. You can manage to survive, but you cannot retire, because you are using your hands, okay, and your head and your brain. So it is really a good thing that Samson is doing this, and yeah, I would recommend that if possible, please, the ministry can look into this kind of talent, and because it's being wasted. A lot of people need to gain from his experience, expertise. I think he's doing quite great works.
Given Mwale is the head of franchise business for Zoona, and Kasiko Magolo is a personal assistant to the Minister of Education. They are both satisfied clients whom Samson has done artworks for. Kasiku first met Samson when he was delivering Permanent Secretary Dr. Jobix Kalumba's portrait, and that meeting led to Kasiku being Samson's client.
I just love deco. I love deco, and when I saw this artist's work, I fell in love with it. As I was coming for work, I met him at the reception with one of the works that he had done for our PS here, Dr. Kalumba, Jobix Kalumba, yes. So I fell in love with the works, and then I got his number and I asked him to make one for me as well. I think that was just about 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks. When he brought the artwork, I was impressed with it, and then requested if he could make another one for me. Yes.
And he made it.
Yes, which is this piece that I have here.
And Given, on the other hand, met Samson at church.
I remember when I met Samson the first time, should be like 6 or 7 years, if I'm not mistaken. We met at church because we are both witnesses. Yeah, so that's when we met. By then, I didn't even know that he did art. Not until I went to the Copper Belt. So I was transferred from Lusaka by Zona as a regional manager for Copper Belt province and Northwestern. So through Facebook, that's when I first saw a post by him when he did a portrait for someone. So I just commented on the post to say, wow, this looks really nice. So from there, we've been following each other, we've been chatting on Facebook, not until I came back to Lusaka. So one day, I took a photo in the office with a background of a bookshelf. I posted it on Facebook. Then he commented to say, this is tempting, I would love to draw this. So knowing how well he's been doing his artwork for other people, I got interested, so I said, I would love it actually to be done. So he said, send several photos that you have, so I can choose which one is the best. That will really look nice he calls it charcoal. Yes. So I sent about 4 of them to him. Then he happened to choose this one to say, wow, this really looks nice, so I can actually do one for you. So we talked about business from there, how we were going to make payments and the like. So I told him, let me go, I have a trip, I'm going out. So you start the work, and then when I'm back, I'll come and pick it up. Yeah, so within a week, he was done with the work, and he sent me photos of him saying I've done 80% of the work. All is needed is just to put it in a frame. Yeah, so within a week I managed to call him to say we can meet up, I'm ready to pay and get my portrait. And surprising enough, how I knew that the art was really good, back then with my former manager, she's now in South Africa, she said, "You look like Eddie Murphy." And the moment people saw the portrait, they said, "Did you just draw Eddie Murphy?" So from that I could tell that really the art was on point. Yeah, so I fell in love from the first time that I saw the portrait. I fell in love with this because I saw the details, how they came out, and I could tell that that was me. The way he did the mustache, the haircut. If you look at the original photo and the portrait, you can't tell the difference. It's just like you've transferred it into a printout.
For the one that I have at home, my children were impressed with it. Some couldn't tell if it was art or it was a proper, like the original picture, because they were just thinking, "Oh, okay, who took this picture for you?" And I would tell them, "No, it's art." And they're like, "What? It looks like a picture." So yeah, a lot of people that have come across his artwork really fall in love with the works.
The first time I displayed it in my house before I came here, my friend from work visited home and he saw the portrait. He said, "This is really well done. Who did the artwork?" So I explained to him who did the artwork, and then he said, "I want to also do the same. So could you share the details of the artist who did the work?" I shared with him, and last week the artwork was delivered and it looks great, though he doesn't want people to know that it's yet out. Yeah, so it's a surprise for someone. Yeah. And in the past few weeks that I've been really working from home, I haven't been to the office. People have been seeing the portrait behind me when I'm working. So when we have morning meetings to catch up on what we've done in the past week, so people have been able to see the artwork from the background. So at least 2 more workers have gotten interested, and they've also requested to say, "I want my artwork to be done because it really looks nice." So far the experience with the Samson has been great. Yeah, he's someone I can easily recommend to anyone to say that you can have your artwork done by him. And also, yeah, the to be, yes, actually requested that they want her also portrait to be done. By the way, she's a nurse. So she wanted a portrait of her in her nursing uniform. So it was well done as well. So really happy that it was up to what was expected of him to do.
The National Arts Council of Zambia was set up to facilitate the promotion, development, and nurturing of all forms of amateur and professional arts to a level of excellence countrywide, and to promote the arts into an integral part of the lives of the people of Zambia. Agnes Nyendwa, acting chairperson for the National Arts Council, responds as to why the arts up to now are not recognized as a separate entity or supporting artists such as Samson.
Your question actually addresses a lot of people's anxieties out there. Yes, we've been asked why can't we have our own ministry, but the government has its own plans on how to administer the arts. So I think we in as much as we would want another way, we also are a quasi-government institution, which is controlled by the government partly, and the arts have a stake, a huge stake in the National Arts Council. So we would want to work with the government of the day, regardless where they take us, because we are creative people, and wherever we are put, we can be creative. But we need a system that will govern the arts in a proper manner. Yes, a standalone ministry is very much welcome. And looking at the space that we work in, we are a diverse industry. And one other thing is that the arts in their entirety, they can contribute massively to the GDP of this country. But we need to see how much we can bring the arts on board and create it as a business that will sufficiently contribute to the GDP of this country, and that can be done because at present I know that we are in several ministries.
The council comprises 9 arts associations representing performing, literally, media, and fine arts, which are somewhat embedded in our school system to promote the arts among the pupils.
I think National Arts Council has been speaking of arts being a business, not talent-based. We have drifted from that because some years back a parent would not even want their child to be an artist. They were discouraged actually. But there are some who have seen the benefit of being in the arts. But suffice to say, the structure of National Arts Council really gives the artists, if they have to belong, it gives the artists that leverage to work and to produce and later sell their product. So these associations that people belong to have programs, have plans, they do plan, which their plans are brought to National Arts Council, and then we try to advise on how we can move together as an association and National Arts Council. There are those that do not pay their subscription to National Arts Council, but by default they belong to National Arts Council. And because of that, we have an interest in whatever happens to any artist around within the country. There are some who do not belong to any association, but they come to National Arts Council to seek for help, to seek for guidance, even when they have an engagement maybe out of the country. They come to National Arts Council, I would like to travel, can you help me in this and that? So we do that. For that, I think we are already on the ground because there's NASAS. NASAS looks at the theatre part, but the associations within National Arts Council have partnered with schools to do essays, to do theatre, to do singing. So we actually have a member of the Ministry of Education on the board of the National Arts Council. So the interests of the child there who is an artist should be taken care of in that manner. So we are ready to partner with any school, and we are ready to go out there and partner with Ministry of General Education more, because sometimes we can lag behind and we do not really infiltrate into the schools. But now, since we are looking at the youth and we are also looking at sport is in every school. Every school has a youth. So I think arts will also go around like that to ensure that that youth, that sports person is catered for even in the arts sector.
So I would encourage the artists to take their talent seriously and then not depend on maybe waiting to be employed somewhere, as they can make a good living out of their talent. Yeah.
I would tell anybody out there who want their artwork to be done by Samson to please contact him, or you can otherwise contact me. I'll be able to direct you to him so that you can do your artwork. Trust me, no one will be disappointed with the work that he does. It's really on point. Yeah.
What would be your encouragement to others who have skills? They may be teachers, they have not been deployed, they've got skills, but they're not using them to their full potential. What is your words to them out there?
Okay, if I can give a balanced advice, because I've talked much of art, but I know out there there are teachers for mathematics, English, and the like, which I would also want to incorporate in this word of advice. So maybe, for example, if you are a maths teacher, you can be doing some tuitions. There are a lot of kids that struggle just on a personal level. You can be doing some kind of tuitions. This time there's even online where you can even be teaching on WhatsApp and the like. So use that skill or that training to earn a living. And then for my fellow teachers, those that have done practical subjects, please just continue doing your best. Never leave your knowledge on the paper. You put it now into the better use. Yeah, if you are an HE teacher, if you've done HE, of course, there are a lot of things that you've been trained. You can open a taker, you can open a teach, and don't wait maybe the capital you can source out a capital on your own. You can do maybe some kind of piecework, just need to have a determination. You open a restaurant, you go around the street, you see, okay, this place, if I can put maybe a restaurant, okay, then what is just important is to give service to the people according to the time that they want it. I'm telling you, you will never go wrong. Yes.
So now you are a trained teacher who has never been deployed. Do you celebrate Teachers' Day, and what is your message to everybody who's in the teaching fraternity this 2021 as they celebrate Teachers' Day on October 5th?
Of course, yes. Even though I'm not yet deployed, but that should not make me to be happy. I'm a proud teacher. I'm a proud teacher. So out there during Teachers' Day, it should just be something that all teachers should be very happy, because like I mentioned earlier on, we build the nation and we build the continent and we build the whole world. So we just have to be very, very happy. Yeah, and you have to present to the people that we are happy because we build the nation. And being happy doesn't mean that maybe on that day you go drinking. No. But we need to come up with some things that would show the nation that this is what you are able to do. Like in my case, I'm planning to come up with artworks that will convince people that this is what I do as a trained teacher. So if you are an agric teacher, you can also come up with something during that day so that you show the world that me as an agric teacher, this is what I can do, this is what I can contribute to the nation. If you're a maths teacher, come up with maybe certain formulas that maybe you can invent on your own. Show to the world that, okay, I've used my brains now to come up with it as a teacher. So it's just about exhibit how proud you are and how competent you are in the field that you are trained. So celebrating that day, it's not necessarily maybe going drinking, smoking. No. Something that will show the world that we are the assets that can build the nation.
I think we should shift from thinking that arts is just a talent. Look at how the sports have been transformed. So an artist is a rich person. Only when a person realizes the importance of latent talent in them, that's when they will realize how rich they can be. If others can do it, we can also do it. We can contribute to the GDP of this country using the arts. So I encourage all those people who are doing the art, who are artists and artists in the making, to go for it. And just don't take it to say it's just a talent, but take it seriously as a business that can put food and food on the table.
Government recently recruited a total of 1,432 teachers across the country, as tabulated below. Early childhood education, 119 teachers were recruited. Primary school education, 556 teachers were recruited. And in secondary school education, 757 teachers were recruited. All the 347 teachers living with disabilities who applied were selected. And out of this, 155 were female and 192 were male, while 1,085 other teachers were recruited, out of which 479 were male, while 606 were female, translating into 44% and 56% respectively. A total of 45,362 applications were received. The Unemployed Teachers Association says that is only a drop in the ocean, as there are currently more than 50,000 teachers who are currently unemployed.
First of all, I would love to talk about the just ended 2021 teacher recruitment. And I think as an association, we have always described that recruitment, and we always describe it as a sham. Sham in the sense that the number that was recruited was just too insignificant compared to the number of unemployed teachers currently at the market. So the number was insignificant, and it's not something I think a person in their right mind can even be proud to talk about. Secondly, it was a sham in the sense that if you check very well the advert by the Teaching Service Commission, the recruitment advert, the Commission made it clear that only those that graduated in 2016 and before should be able to apply. So already that one discouraged many teachers to apply. So many teachers did not apply. They were defranchised their own right to employment. So I think going forward, we shouldn't expect that one by the Teaching Service Commission, because that is one way to defranchise a lot of teachers in this country, considering that we have got quite a huge number of unemployed teachers currently on the streets. So we expect the process to be free for everyone, so that everyone can be able to participate freely.
While most unemployed teachers lament not being deployed by government years after they have qualified to teach, Samson has made his time very useful by volunteering his service to these young pupils, doing what he loves best, art, and at the same time, making a living for himself and his family. Samson may not be employed by the government yet, but he is making a living doing what he loves to do, while imparting knowledge in these young, brilliant minds.
So, for example, if someone then says, oh, we have a shop, and you know in our community, a lot of shops, shop by painter party, or one by painter, for example, do you need someone to do some kind of writing? Oh, yes. Then what they'll do is they'll give you katenda.
Being unemployed has not stopped him from teaching. Happy Teachers' Day to all teachers, and a special Teachers' Day to teachers like Samson, who are making a difference against all odds. So now, as we count down to celebrate World Teachers' Day on October 5th, we hope that you remember such teachers as Samson Chipeta, a graduate who refuses to sit idle on his God-given skilled talent in the arts. Samson has taken it upon himself to use his talent to survive as he volunteers his services as a PE and arts teacher, with the hope that one day he may be deployed by the Ministry of General Education. He is a storehouse of knowledge pupils can benefit from, an inspiration to others, and an artist who can draw your next charcoal artwork. Give us your feedback by emailing us at documentaries@diamondtvzambia.com. Thank you so much for the pleasure of your company. Be blessed.